being a student, I'm able to tell people like, hey, I know what you're going through. I know how to fix this problem. I know what you can do to help you out.
Howdy, and welcome back to On Air with Student Affairs. I'm your host, Elizabeth Drake, and today we'll be discussing Acing finals with academic peer mentors and Katie.
Hi.
So to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you to Texas A&M?
So I'm an engineering student, industrial and systems engineering. I applied to both UT and A&M. I picked A&M because when I came to campus, everyone was so nice and so friendly. And I came around COVID when there was like 5 students outside. And some poor girl helped me and my dad figure out how to get to Hullabaloo and do the Northside campus tours. And she bought us like hot chocolate. She felt so bad that we were stressed, and she was just so friendly. So I was like, I have to go here. Like, there's no point touring UT. This is the school for me. And the engineering program is, of course, amazing, but she was just so nice. I was like, wow, if everyone's this nice, I'm going to have a great time. And everyone has been so far. So
Yeah, I mean, I can totally agree with that. The campus culture here is like no other campus in the world. So once you got here, how did you find out about academic peer mentors and what made you want to join it?
yeah, so I actually applied very late. Typically, people apply when they're sophomores or about to be sophomores. I applied as a junior, about to be a senior. I found out about it because there was a sign that said free Whataburger. And I was like, oh, I like free food. And so I walked over there and showed up. They talked about what APMs are, what we do. And I was like, wow, I could have used someone like that my freshman year if I knew about it. I want to help people out. I'm an engineer. I know the struggles. I know it's a tough time. I needed that. So I was like, oh, I'll just apply and see what happens. And then I made it to the first round of interviews. And then I was like, oh, it's crazy. I'll go and I'll see what happens. And then a few weeks later, they're like, oh, you have the job. And I was like, oh, awesome. So I've been doing this for 1.5 years now. I am like a late graduate, so I'll be graduating in December, 4.5 years, but I've loved every minute of it. It's been so much fun.
So besides looking for free Whataburger, if students are interested in getting involved with academic peer mentors, what should they do?
So we have a lot of different resources for students. My favorite are academic checkups. We call them ACUs. They're one-on-one appointments with an APM of a same or similar major. So I get a ton of freshman engineers who are just stressed and have no clue what to do. We help them plan schedules. We help them look at classes in the future, as well as figure out how to study. Most students don't know how to study correctly, or they've never had to study until they came to A&M, and they just don't know what to do. We're here to help them out. We do Rev Talks, which are those programs where we have some food sometimes. They cover big academic topics, like we just did one about financial aid and what Q drops and registration is like for students who've never done that before. We have offices that we have Scantrons at. So if you don't ever buy a Scantron, we have tons of them for free. We also have in-hall programs. So we work with the RAs to do more niche kind of stuff. I'm doing one in a few weeks about what graduation is like and what to do after you graduate college if you want to go to grad school and all that fun stuff.
So what does the day in the life of an academic peer mentor look like?
Yeah, so what's great about the job is we have an office that we can work in, and you get to pick your own hours. So I typically go to class, and then I'll go to the APM office, and I'll talk to my mentees. I'll reply to any messages I have in my email, chill out there. And if students come by and they're like, hey, I don't know how to print something, I need a Scantron, could you help me with this weird error I have on my registration? We help them figure it out. They don't come by too often, but when they do, we all get so excited. And it's like 4 people are like, just turn around and face you and you look terrified. I promise we're all friendly. We just want to help you out. And then if we have events, those typically are at night. So not too crazy with those. They take like 2 hours at most, and they're just a fun time.
Yeah. Well, obviously you have a jam-packed schedule being involved with this. What would you say is the most rewarding part of being a peer mentor?
Definitely my mentees and the academic checkups. I love helping them. My first ever mentee, she had no clue what she wanted to do engineering-wise. She wanted to do computer science, and she was stressed and scared. We met, we figured things out, and now she's an electrical engineer, and she's absolutely loving everything she's learning in class. And it just makes me so happy that I was able to help her out. It just feels so good when you're able to see someone who was stressed out, freaking out that they weren't good enough for school, seeing like, hey, you're getting A's in all of your classes. Like, you clearly know what you're doing, and you genuinely like it. So that's my favorite part for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really rewarding to have all those stories to take away. Is there anything like that sticks out in particular from your experiences?
I I had one girl come up to me and it was like seeing myself freshman year. I was stressed. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I came in wanting to do one engineering discipline and I did not end up in that discipline, nor did I want to continue in it. And she came up to me. She was like, "Hey, I want to do chemical engineering. What do I need to do to get this done?" She came to me with a list of like questions from her mom. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know all these answers, but I'll figure it out." And now she's actually in my department and she loves what she's doing. She's doing research with a professor. She is having a great time and she's just a sophomore and she's doing so much. And it makes me so happy because I was in that same position of scared, stressed. I don't know what to do. My mom gave me questions to ask. How do I figure this out? And now she's successful and she's loving what she's doing.
So it sounds like it's not just about like helping them with their academics, but you really build such strong relationships
Mhm.
and foster a bond with these people you're working with. Obviously, there's so many highs that come along with it, but what are some of the challenges you face as a peer mentor?
Um, Definitely when someone comes up to me and I don't know how to help them, or if they come up to me with tutoring questions. We don't tutor people. But I've had a few situations where students are like, "Hey, can you help me with this chemistry question?" We're not supposed to do that. So I'm like, I'll just be like, "Hey, here's what you should do for this." But there's been a few students that have come up to me and been like, "Hey, like, what can I do?" And I don't know how to help them because they're doing everything that they can. And it's difficult being like, "I don't know." I've thankfully found other ways to help them out, or worst case scenario, I've had like someone else step in, but just not knowing how to help someone, I don't like doing that. I try and figure out a way to help them, but if I can't.
I love hearing how much passion you speak with when you talk about the students that you're working with. I think that makes you probably even better of a peer mentor, makes you stand out. So, with final season upon us, obviously people are scurrying and rushing to study for those. What are some tips and tricks you could give or recommendations you have heading into that so they can ace them?
If you haven't already, figure out what kind of learner you are. I had a student come in recently. He's a visual learner. We found some chemistry videos for him to watch instead of listening to the boring lectures and doing notes, and that's helped him a lot. He's already been improving on his homework grades, so hopefully that'll help with exams coming up soon. Another thing, we have a whole list on the Academic Success Center website of different study methods. I do the 5-day study plan where I spend the full 5 days before an exam going over and reviewing my previous notes, homeworks, and then finally doing reviews. Figuring out the best way you learn is the hardest part, but there's so many resources that A&M gives you. Just go and look through them, and if you can't find them, you can come to me and I'll help you find them.
Yes, yes, that's incredible. There is so many resources online that I feel like so many of our students have no idea
Mhm.
about, but it's incredible how much is offered to us. So, the Division of Student Affairs administers a well-being survey that goes out to every Aggie every year, and one comment they often see in the survey is that Aggies don't feel smart enough to succeed at Texas A&M. Why do you think some students feel that way?
I can definitely speak on that with experience. Coming into A&M, you're typically the top 10% of your school. You're coming from being the best of the best to now everyone's the best. And it's really hard to like put in perspective that you got in here for a reason. So while you might not be the best in your class, you're still a smart person. It's just hard because you're competing against now people who are the exact same level of smart, if not the slightly better people than you, versus in high school, you were the top 10%. There were 90% of the class was not succeeding as well as you were. But now you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like everyone's that level. It's hard. It makes you feel like you're an imposter. It feels like you're not
Yeah.
supposed to be here. But you got into A&M. You wouldn't be here if they didn't think you were good enough to be here. We don't just accept everyone. Like it's a competitive school to get into for a reason.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I know coming to Texas A&M, it was a little bit of a shock that these are the best of the best of their high schools.
Mhm.
Everyone here has so much strive to do well and succeed. I think that's really great, and I think it encourages us to do even better. So, what are some other ways you might encourage someone when they're feeling that way?
Definitely try and find like a club or an organization to join with people similar to you. Again, I'm the engineering school, so I'll talk about that all day. There are a million engineering clubs and organizations where it's just students your same age group who are trying to figure out what they want to do with their career and what they want to do in their future. Having someone else to talk to is great. I know personally, my freshman year, the first friend I ever made was someone who was also struggling. And now we're both graduating this semester. We both have jobs lined up. We're both extremely happy. And we went from feeling like we weren't good enough to he's one of the top in his department and we both have jobs. We're both succeeding. It's not the end of the world if you fail an exam. You can still make up from it. Like everything's going to be okay. You wouldn't be here. And there's tons of resources you can reach out to. I'm always a great resource, APMs. Half of my mentee meetings are just telling people, hey, you're going to be okay. I know you failed an exam, but it's not the end of the world. I failed almost all my first exams, and I ended up with A's in all my classes in the end. Like, you can get back from it, and it's not the end of the world.
I love that advice. I think the college experience here at A&M is half of what brings people here, and I do think that's a great way to combat some of those feelings. So what's one thing you wish Aggies knew about succeeding academically at Texas A&M or even in college in general as a peer mentor?
Definitely all the free resources we have. The Math Learning Center, they have a whole drop-in tutoring session you can sit in if you need help with questions, as well as there's a million SI sessions run by the Academic Success Center with physics, chemistry. There's some at the engineering school. There's a million free resources you can use. I always recommend to students to go to the office hours of their TAs if they have they don't know what they don't know, and go to your professors once you figure out, hey, I have more specific questions. It's a huge way to improve your grade. And also it's a huge way to build a connection with someone. That's how I ended up getting research was I just talked to professors and I asked, hey, how can I do this? I want to get better. What can I do? Building that connection will help you out so much.
Yeah, I know we talked a little bit in the beginning about how to connect with academic peer mentors if you want to, but how would someone who wants to be an academic peer mentor pursue that?
Yeah, so we hire in the spring. We do kind of 2 rounds of hiring. So our spring hiring will be more general, like that Rev Talk I went to, where we talk about what we are, what we do. There's an application online that'll open up, I believe, in January. You can find out on our Instagram, APM_TAMU. We talk more about it there, but application will open up on the A&M job application website, or Hire Aggies, I believe is what it's called. On there, you can apply to be an APM. It's a very quick, preliminary search. So it'll be your resume and a couple questions that you answer. From there, we'll send out emails, and APMs are looking at all the different resumes to decide who we think is best, and we'll interview you in person. It's a great experience. It's a group interview. That sounds kind of scary, but it's pretty nice, and the entire application process is extremely easy. It did not take me longer than 30 minutes to fill out, which is pretty great. Yeah, but in the spring, we'll be hiring, and you'll get hired to work in the fall or potentially the spring, depending on when people graduate.
You seem to have so many great success stories from working as a peer mentor. Is there ever any mentees that come back and become peer mentors?
Yes. So my first ever APM mentor, her roommate ended up applying, and she now works with us, and they are pretty much the same person, but different majors. They're the sweetest people in the world, and I love working with them. Our grad student that works with us, she also was a mentee originally and then joined in later on. We love seeing the mentees apply. It's a great time. I can't interview any of my mentees, but it's so much fun seeing them, and they can also take their experiences from being a mentee and apply them to how they want to change with APM.
So I know you talked a little bit previously about sometimes you don't always know how to help students, but that you're still going to find a way to make it happen. Do you ever work with other departments or other resources on campus to help make that happen?
Yeah, so our Rev Talks are a great program where we talk with more departments. So Rev Talk will have 4 student panelists that have similar experiences and 1 professional panelist. We had a career fair Rev Talk recently where we talked with a career center person who answered questions that students may have about what career fair is like, as well as they were able to directly answer more personal questions at the end. With our financial aid Rev Talk that I was a part of, we had the head of Aggie One Stop there. She was able to answer students' direct questions and more general ones, as well as she gave her email address out to people just so if they did need more help later on, they could contact her. Most of the time, we put students in connection with these resources. So while I don't know a specific person from the Career Center, I can get you in contact with how to find someone at the Career Center, like booking those advising appointments and figuring out when you can go by the Career Center to answer your questions, or academic advisors. It's the same deal, when you can go talk to your academic advisor, as well as writing emails. I know that's scary. I just helped a mentee write an email to his academic advisor because he had no clue how to do that, and he had no clue what his question was, so we figured out how to do that together.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you guys are such advocates for students and helping them find these resources. And even if you aren't the help they need, helping them find what they do need. So what is the value of students working with other students rather than just going to their professor trying to get in with a TA?
So the big benefit is I've been where you are. I've been through the whole ETAM process. I know what it's like as a student to have gone through that relatively recently compared to a professor. Probably did not have to go through the ETAM process, probably did not have the same coursework, did not have the same classes. So being a student, I'm able to tell people like, hey, I know what you're going through. I know how to fix this problem. I know what you can do to help you out. As well as I know what resources are currently still active to be able to use. Like I know you can go to TAPS and minors. You can talk to them about that if you're thinking about transferring or how to get a minor and stuff like that. As well as I know what professors are best to have on campus. It's a silly thing, but a lot of the time our questions are like, hey, I want to take this specific history course. 3 different professors are teaching it. Which one is best? If I haven't taken it, there's a huge chance someone else in our office has taken it, and I'm able to ask them, hey, what do you recommend? Or based off the communications classes and technical writing courses that people have to take, we know which ones are best suited for certain people, and we can help them figure out what they should take and not just what an academic advisor might say, which is like, hey, this is the most common one to take. We can tell you, hey, while this might be the most common one for you in particular, I think you're great at public speaking. Maybe we should work more on our technical writing and take this course instead.
Yeah, it must be so comforting to have a relatable and like down-to-earth perspective of someone who's literally been in your shoes rather than your professor who maybe you don't even know. So you've touched so much upon the impact you've had on the lives of other Aggies, but can you tell us a little bit about how being a peer mentor has impacted your Aggie experience?
Yeah, so when I applied, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, which sounds sad, but it's because I was so focused on my academics. I did not care too much about anything else. In the job alone, I have gained 26 friends because there are 26 APMs, but they are genuinely friends. I hang out with them outside of classes, which is great, but it's also opened me up to being more social. I am a very introverted person. Here I am talking on a podcast. I clearly don't seem like that, but around the time when I applied, I was too scared to talk in front of my class. I give capstone or senior design presentations every week, and I'm no longer as scared to talk in front of people. I have a lot more confidence in my skills and my abilities, and I feel like everything I'm doing is correct versus where I would used to doubt myself all the time and think everything I'm doing could be wrong. I feel more confident in my abilities to speak as well as my ability to help others and myself. I'm a more confident person now. I have more friends. I also go and do more A&M kind of things. I had a sports pass my freshman year, and I used it 2 times. I got a sports pass last year, and I used it for every single football game except for one because now I had more friends to go with, and I felt more inclined to go. It's a great time. Everyone's very supportive in the team, and it's just been a great way to like open up. We work with an SAPM or a senior academic peer mentor, and they'll help us figure out what we need to work on and things we can improve upon with the job. But also they check in on you socially and mentally to make sure you're okay and not just focusing on academics, which was a huge help for me because I only cared about having good grades up until I got this job, and I realized, oh, I need to like talk to people and I need to join clubs and I need to do this and that. And now I'm more confident in my abilities and I feel so much happier than I did 2 years ago.
I love the sense of community that you've really gained from being a peer mentor, and I think it's great that it really mirrors what brought you to A&M in the first place is that sense of community that we have on campus. So is there any other resources that you might recommend for students who are looking for a little more support when they're studying?
I highly recommend SI sessions. If you don't know what they are, they're like student-led sessions that the university sponsors. So students who aced the course last semester will now go in and teach what material they're covering that week based off the professor's advice, and they sit through these lectures so they actually know what your professor's talking about and aren't just speaking on random things that other classes may be discussing. They're a great free resource. They're typically at night times, and they are on Zoom and in person, so it's super accessible for all students.
How can students find out about these SI courses?
Yeah, so the Academic Success Center has a huge page with all their tutoring sessions, as well as specifically the SI sessions. So if you go on academicsuccesscenter.com, they'll list all that out for you, as well as all the different times. They cover all the intro courses typically that all freshmen need to take, as well as specific things like physics and chemistry, all of that.
Sounds like a great thing to add to your study schedule. So leading up to finals, is there anything special academic peer mentors do for finals?
Yes, so my favorite thing we do besides academic checkups are our study spectacular. we booked some rooms around campus as well as in the gardens and White Creek apartments. And there are these giant study rooms that we fill with snacks and coffee and tea. And it's a great time to like study someplace with some people that, are similar to you. They're all typically freshmen, but I invite all my friends to go. And it's a great time to study with people. And it's a great space to go besides just sitting at home by yourself. Go outside, join us. There are snacks, there is coffee. It's a great time, as well as Scantrons. If you need them, they're literally there. And APMs stock the room, typically 12 hours a day. So we'll be there if you have any questions as well, too.
It sounds like a great space for a little recharge or a brain break during finals, too.
It's so much fun. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of the job because I sit there and I do my homework, but also I've had several students come up to be like, hey, real quick, what do I do if I'm struggling with this? And we're able to help them right during finals.
That's great. And I love that all students can come, not just people who are actively in the program.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to a student that is on the verge or maybe a little hesitant about reaching out to peer mentors?
Honestly, just do it. There's so many of us and we're so willing to help. I don't think a single person has had an academic checkup or a student reach out to them and they've been like, oh my gosh, that was so crazy what they said. Every single time we're so happy to help someone. We're like, oh, they needed help with this. And I was able to actually help them. And I felt like I actually made an impact on their life. We'll answer every silly question you may have. None of the questions I've ever been asked have been silly or ridiculous. They've all been a very valid question. And I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to help answer them, as well as every other APM has said the same thing. They're so grateful that students have come up to them and asked them these questions because it's also allowed us to learn more about A&M. I didn't know about a few resources before I started this job. And with this job, I've learned so much more. And it's helped myself too with my grades. And it's helped me academically, but also socially and learn more about what I want to do in the future. It's just a great time. And reaching out, no one's ever going to say no to you. There's always one of us available. We are always here to help you.
Yeah, I mean, and why not try it? Because if you don't like it, you don't have to come back, but at least you tried it.
Exactly.
So obviously you guys are with the Department of Residence Life, but are you a resource for all students?
Yes. All of our programs that I've mentioned are available for everyone except for in dorm halls. Those are for the residents in the dorms, but I have students that live off campus that are my mentees, as well as all of our big campus-wide Rev Talk programs are literally for everyone. We have one about grad school, and those students who are applying for grad school are not freshmen. So please stop by, go to these events. They're extremely helpful resources for everyone on or off campus.
I love it. You're here to help.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Katie, and telling us a little bit more about how we can ace finals with academic peer mentors. Thanks so much for watching this episode of On Air with Student Affairs. Gig'em.